On February 29, 1940, history was made at the Ambassador Hotel's Coconut Grove. The event, the 12th annual Oscars Awards ceremony, celebrating the films of 1939. Among the attendees were the movie stars of the time, Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney, and Bette Davis, all vying for a win. For one actress, however, an Oscar win wasn't just celebratory, it was revolutionary.
Best performance of an actress in supporting roles during 1939 to Hattie McDaniel.
Hattie McDaniel's career in Hollywood, immortalized by her historic Oscar win as Mammy in Gone with the Wind, represented a quiet revolution as she broke barriers and empowered African American voices in the film industry. What followed her revolutionary achievement was typecasting from white directors, racism from organizations such as the Oscars, and backlash from the NAACP regarding her portrayal of black characters. This exemplified the divided reactions to her career and raised questions about how to reform Hollywood's portrayals of people of color. Hattie McDaniel was born in the early 1890s in Wichita, Kansas. The daughter of a Civil War veteran and youngest of 13 children, McDaniel grew up in Colorado, where she would find her passion for acting. As a young adult, Hattie formed the McDaniel Sister Company with her sister Etta. Together, they toured the country, performing minstrel shows and dance numbers. McDaniel was growing her career, though it came at a price. These shows McDaniel performed used racist stereotypes and blackface as the foundation of their humor. McDaniel would continue to perform these shows until the Great Depression hit, during which she would move to Hollywood and start her career in the film industry. The most famous of her film performances and the true revolutionary moment of Hattie McDaniel's career would come in 1937 when she was cast as Mammy in Gone with the Wind. In winning Best Supporting Actress for this role, McDaniel became the first African American to win an Academy Award, a revolutionary breakthrough in a Hollywood that rarely acknowledged black actors, and acknowledged black actresses even less. The audience at the hotel seemed to understand the enormous impact this win had. According to one reporter at the event, the crowd was tendering an ovation never paralleled in Academy history. After the win, McDaniel said, "My own people were especially happy. They felt that in honoring me, Hollywood had honored the entire race. That was the way I wanted it. This was too big a moment for my personal backslapping. I wanted this occasion to prove an inspiration." However, despite the inspirational achievement, the reaction McDaniel faced from both her peers and the American public was not nearly as glamorous. The Ambassador Hotel, where the award ceremony was held, was segregated and did not allow entrance to African Americans. It wasn't until Gone with the Wind producer David Selznick advocated for McDaniel that she was permitted to attend. Even still, she was seated apart from her peers. Despite the way that Hollywood wanted to frame her win as an incredible symbol for African Americans, they were still excluding her and reinforcing racist policies. In order to understand the complex reactions to McDaniel's win, we need to look at Hollywood at the time. In the 1920s and 30s, African American actors were mainly cast in roles of servitude: chefs, maids, servants, and slaves. For black women, especially, there's one very specific typecast: the role of Mammy. Mammy is a racial caricature that depicts a larger black woman who is devoted to and enslaved by a wealthy white family. This caricature is largely attributed to Beecher Stowe's 1852 novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin. As this novel's popularity skyrocketed, so too did the stereotype in American literature and film. In the racist movie created by D.W. Griffith, The Birth of a Nation, the Mammy figure defends the home of her white enslavers from the Union soldiers who are attempting to emancipate the enslaved people on the plantation. Thus, Mammy was extremely problematic, as it promoted the idea of black women being loyal to and grateful towards their enslavers. McDaniel would go on to play roles of servitude for over 40 films, including her role as Mammy in Gone with the Wind. When McDaniel won her award for this stereotypical and problematic role, many civil rights activists were not content with her portrayal, as they felt it was detrimental to the progress of African Americans. Of these activist groups, the most prominent of McDaniel's critics was the NAACP. Founded in 1909, the National Association for the Advancement of the Colored People was an organization whose goal was to prevent racism and protect the rights of African Americans. When McDaniel won her Oscar, prominent leaders of the group included Walter White and Thurgood Marshall. Where McDaniel believed her career symbolized a win for the Black community, the NAACP felt that she had degraded herself and her race. Other activists held similar opinions. William L. Patterson of the Chicago Defender called McDaniel's portrayal as Mammy a weapon of terror against Black America. Where many would have been deterred by this reaction, McDaniel wasn't swayed. In one of her most famous quotes, McDaniel stated, "I can be a maid for $7 a week, or I can play a maid for $700 a week." For her, the way to reform Hollywood was through making incremental changes, even if it was at the expense of playing into racist stereotypes. At a time where it was difficult for Black actors to get any kind of work in Hollywood, McDaniel was making revolutionary waves as she traversed an industry largely dominated by white actors and actresses. When faced with blatantly racist dialogue in scripts, McDaniel challenged directors. She said, "I have never apologized for the roles I play. Several times I've persuaded the directors to omit dialect for modern pictures. They readily agreed to the suggestion." This shows that McDaniel, along with her revolutionary win, was making subtle reforms within Hollywood, proving the transformative impact she had. At the end of the day, both McDaniel and the NAACP were trying to help amend the racism within Hollywood, where McDaniel believed that reform could come from revolutionary wins and making gradual internal amendments to stray away from racist portrayals and language. The NAACP believed that reform needed to be a complete overhaul of the systemic racism within the film industry. Following her role in Gone with the Wind, McDaniel would continue to work in the film industry. In 1950, she would get the lead role in The Beulah Show. While this role was still one where McDaniel played a servant to a white family, it was also the first sitcom with a Black female lead. Once again, this is evidence of McDaniel's revolutionary impact on the film industry as a pioneer, albeit restricted by the racism she faced and stereotypes she was reinforcing. While there are differing opinions on the impact of McDaniel's career and the reach of her reform efforts, many Black actors and actresses have attributed their success to her contributions in Hollywood. In 2010, Monique won Best Supporting Actress for her role in Precious, and said in her acceptance speech,
"I want to thank Miss Hattie McDaniel for enduring all that she had to so that I would not have to."
Furthermore, when Angela Bassett won an honorary Oscar in 2024, she cited McDaniel's momentous impact on the film industry, saying that Miss McDaniel historically tore down a barrier, making it possible for African American actresses to be seen and recognized at the highest levels of our industry for their contribution on film. Ultimately, Hattie McDaniel's career was a complex success. Void of the criticism she received, it is undeniable that McDaniel fulfilled her goal of being a revolutionary pioneer for her race in the film industry. During her acceptance speech, McDaniel said,
"I sincerely hope I shall always be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry."
On October 26, 1952, Hattie McDaniel passed away from breast cancer. To honor her life's work, McDaniel's nephew, Edgar Goff, had her memorial marker in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery inscribed with a promise that her goal was fulfilled. Aunt Hattie, you are a credit to your craft, your race, and to your family.